Zara stood in the great hall, her scaled hands trembling at her sides. The smooth purple scales that covered her body felt cold, despite the warm air. Her large amber eyes stared at the polished floor. She did not dare look up. Good daughters of the Velkari people did not look up unless told to do so. Her father, Council Member Theron, stood beside the human delegation. His voice was calm and pleased as he spoke about unity and cooperation between their worlds. Zara barely heard the words. Her mind was spinning with fear. She was going to marry a human. A human. The thought made her want to run, but there was nowhere to go. Her father had made his decision. She had no choice in the matter. Among her people, daughters obeyed. Always. Zara had heard stories about humans since they joined the Galactic Coalition 50 years ago. Terrible stories. Humans were violent and unpredictable. They had spent thousands of years fighting wars against each other on their home planet. They killed their own kind over disagreements. What would such a creature do to an alien wife? The worst part was that humans felt emotions strongly, too strongly. The other species in the coalition whispered about it. Humans could not control their feelings the way civilized beings did. They laughed too loud. They cried over small things. They got angry and acted without thinking. Zara had been taught that such behavior was dangerous and primitive. Zara, her father's voice cut through her thoughts. Come forward. She moved on, shaking legs. Each step felt heavy. When she reached her father's side, she kept her eyes down. She had practiced this. She knew what to do. Be quiet. Be obedient. Do not embarrass the family. This is Jake Morrison, her father said. He will be your husband. Zara forced herself to look up just for a moment. She needed to see what kind of monster she was being given to. The human was tall. Most humans were tall compared to her people. He had dark hair and wore simple clothes, not the formal robes of someone important. His face was strange, with that flat appearance all humans had, and skin that was a warm brown color. But his eyes surprised her. They were dark and soft, and they looked worried. Hello, Zara, the human said. His voice was gentle. It's good to meet you. How are you feeling? Zara's mind went blank. How was she feeling? No one had ever asked her that before. She did not know what to say. Was this a trick? A test? She is honored, her father answered for her. This union will bring great benefit to both our peoples. The human, Jake, did not look at her father. He kept looking at Zara. I'd like to hear from Zara herself if that's okay. Zara's breath caught. He wanted her to speak? She glanced at her father, unsure. Theron's eyes narrowed slightly, a warning. She looked back at the floor. I am honored, she whispered. She heard Jake take a breath. When he spoke again, his voice was quiet but firm. Councilmember Theron, may I speak with you privately for a moment? Her father agreed, and the two of them stepped away. Zara stood frozen in place, her hearts pounding. She had two hearts, as all Velkari did, and both of them were racing. Had she done something wrong already? Would the human reject her? Would her father be angry? When they returned, her father's face was tight with barely hidden anger. Jake looked calm, but serious. Zara, Jake said, stepping closer but stopping a respectful distance away. I need to talk to you alone. Is that all right? Before she could answer, her father spoke. That is not appropriate. She is still under my care until the ceremony. With respect, sir, Jake said, and there was something hard in his voice now. I won't marry anyone who doesn't want to marry me. I need to speak with her privately to make sure she's willing. The room went silent. Zara felt the shock ripple through the assembled officials. No one spoke to Councilmember Theron that way. No one questioned an arranged marriage. This was how things were done. This was tradition. But her father was smart. He cared about his political career more than his pride. If the human refused the marriage, it would be a disaster, so he nodded stiffly. Very well. You may use the side chamber. Zara followed Jake into a small room off the main hall. Her legs felt like water. She expected him to grab her, to hurt her, to show his true nature now that they were alone. Instead, he gestured to a chair. Please, sit down. She sat because he told her to. That was what she knew. Obey. Jake sat across from her, not too close. He leaned forward, his hands clasped together. Zara, I'm going to be honest with you, he said. I know this marriage was arranged. I know you probably don't want this. I want you to know that I won't go through with it if you're being forced. I'll tell them no. I'll handle your father's anger. You won't get in trouble. Zara stared at him. His words did not make sense. He would say no? He would protect her from her father's anger? Why? What did he gain from that? I don't understand, she whispered. Jake smiled, but it was a sad smile. I know this must be confusing, but where I come from, marriage should be a choice. I won't force you into anything. If you want to say no, I'll support you. I cannot say no, Zara said, her voice breaking. My family would be dishonored. I would bring shame to everyone. I have no choice. There's always a choice, Jake said gently. But he did not understand. He was human. He did not know what it was like to be a Velkari female. She had no power, no voice, no way out. I will marry you, she said, and her voice sounded dead even to her own ears. It is my duty. Jake was quiet for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Okay. But I want you to know something. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to force you to do anything. You'll have your own space, your own freedom. I want you to feel safe. Can you believe that? Zara wanted to say no. She wanted to tell him she knew he was lying, that all males were the same, that she knew what was coming. But something in his eyes made her pause. He looked sincere. He looked kind. She did not trust it. But she nodded anyway. The ceremony was short. Zara stood rigid beside Jake as the words were spoken in both their languages. She felt his hand take hers, warm and careful. He did not squeeze too hard. He did not yank her closer. He just held her hand like it was something precious. When it was over, they were married. Zara was now the wife of a human. She followed Jake through the corridors of the space station where they would live. Every step felt like walking toward her doom. She waited for him to show his true nature. She waited for the kindness to disappear. But as they reached the door to their quarters, Jake turned to her and smiled. It was a real smile, reaching his eyes. Welcome home, Zara, he said, and opened the door for her. She stepped inside, her fear wrapped around her like a heavy blanket, certain that the nightmare was only just beginning. Their quarters were larger than Zara expected. The main room had soft furniture and windows that looked out into space. She could see stars and the curve of a nearby planet. It might have been beautiful if she was not so terrified. Jake set down the small bag that contained her few belongings. He looked around the space and then back at her. So this is home, he said. I know it's not much, but we can change things however you like. Move furniture, change the colors, whatever makes you comfortable. Zara stood very still near the door. She did not know what to do with her hands. Change things? However she liked. What kind of trick was this? Let me show you around, Jake continued. He walked slowly, giving her space. That's the kitchen area. I usually make breakfast around 7 station time. Do you have any foods you can't eat? Allergies or anything? She shook her head. Her people could eat most things that other species ate. Good, good. He moved to a doorway. This is the main bedroom, but... He paused and opened another door. This room is set up for you. Your own space. Your own bed. I won't come in unless you invite me. You deserve privacy. Zara stared at the second bedroom. Her own room? Males and females did not sleep separately after marriage. That was not how things worked. The wife belonged to the husband. She had no separate space. This had to be a trap. I don't understand, she said quietly. Jake turned to look at her. His expression was patient. You didn't really choose to marry me, Zara. I know that. So I'm not going to act like you did. You get your own space until you decide you want something different. If you ever do, no pressure. She did not know what to say. Every moment with this human confused her more. That night, she lay in the bed in her own room. The door had a lock. Jake had showed her how to use it. She locked it and then sat on the edge of the bed, waiting. Waiting for him to pound on the door, waiting for him to demand she open it, waiting for the real Jake to appear. He never came. She heard him moving around the quarters for a while, then heard his bedroom door close. Then silence. Zara did not sleep well that first night. The next morning, she woke to strange smells. She got dressed quickly in the simple clothes she had brought and unlocked her door carefully. When she stepped into the main room, she found Jake in the kitchen. He was cooking something. Good morning, he said, smiling at her. I made breakfast. I wasn't sure what you'd like, so I made a few different things. Come sit down. Zara approached the table slowly. There were plates of food and Jake was putting them out. He pulled out a chair. Here, sit, he said. She sat. Then she waited. Jake sat down across from her. He did not start eating. He was waiting for something. Go ahead, he said, gesturing to the food. Try whatever looks good. You want me to eat first? Zara asked. Among her people, males always ate first. Females ate what was left. Of course, I made it for both of us. Jake picked up his fork. Is this weird for you? Sorry, I should have asked about your customs. Zara took a small portion of something that looked safe. She ate a bite. It was good. Jake watched her with a pleased expression and started eating his own food. They ate in silence for a while. Then Jake spoke. So, I work at the engineering bay. I usually head there around 9. You can come with me if you want to see the station, or you can stay here. Whatever you prefer. The doors aren't locked. You're free to go wherever you want. Free to go wherever she wanted. The words sounded strange. Valkyrie wives did not have freedom. They stayed home. They waited for their husbands. They served. What would you like me to do? She asked. Jake looked confused. What do you mean? What are my duties? What do you require of me? Understanding crossed Jake's face, followed by something that looked like sadness. Zara, you don't have duties. You're not my servant. You're my wife, I guess. But more than that, you're a person. You can do whatever you want with your time. I don't understand, she whispered. She kept saying that, but it was true. Nothing made sense. Jake put down his fork. Okay, let me try to explain. Where I come from, marriage is supposed to be a partnership. 2 equal people sharing a life. I don't own you. You don't serve me. We're supposed to help each other, respect each other, make decisions together. Equal. Partnership. The words were like sounds from another world. Zara had never heard of such things between a male and female. Over the next few days, things got stranger. Jake made meals and expected her to eat with him. He cleaned the quarters himself. He asked her opinion on things. He showed her how to use the station's computer system so she could watch entertainment programs or read. The strangest moment came on the 3rd day. Zara had been watching Jake, trying to learn what he wanted from her. She noticed he always walked ahead, so she started following behind him, the way proper wives did. 3 steps back. Eyes down. Jake stopped walking. He turned around and looked at her with a puzzled expression. Zara, why are you walking back there? This is the proper way, she said. Proper? According to who? According to everyone. Wives walk behind their husbands. Jake shook his head firmly. Not human wives, and not you, not anymore. Please walk beside me. I want to talk to you, not have you trailing behind like I'm better than you or something. He waited until she came to stand beside him. Then he started walking again, matching her pace. He pointed out different parts of the station and told her about the people who worked there. That afternoon, he took her to meet some of his co-workers. Zara met Amy, a human female with short black hair and a bright smile. She also met Dan, a male who worked with Jake on engineering projects. What shocked Zara most was how Amy acted. She laughed loudly. She joked with Dan. She touched his arm while talking, and Dan did not punish her. He did not tell her to be quiet. He laughed with her. Is she his mate? Zara whispered to Jake when the other two were talking. Amy and Dan? No, they're just friends and co-workers. Why? She speaks so freely. She touches him. He allows this? Jake looked at her with that sad expression again. Zara, human women are free to speak and act however they want. Dan doesn't allow or not allow anything. Amy does what she wants because she's her own person. The idea was so foreign that Zara could not process it. She watched Amy the rest of that visit, fascinated and confused. The human woman was so confident, so free. She had never seen a female act that way. That night, Jake made dinner again. Zara watched him move around the kitchen. She wanted to help, but she did not know how to ask. Finally, she stood up. Can I do something? She asked quietly. Jake looked up. Do you want to help cook? Sure, that would be nice. Here, you can chop these vegetables. They worked side by side. Jake showed her how to use the human cooking tools. He talked about his day. He asked about hers. He treated her like an equal. When they sat down to eat, Zara spoke without thinking. You're very strange. Jake laughed. It was a warm sound. Yeah, I guess I am. Different cultures and all that. Can I ask you something? She nodded. Are you feeling any better? Less scared? Zara thought about it. She was still confused. She still did not fully trust this situation. But the sharp edge of terror had dulled a little. Jake had not hurt her. He had not yelled at her. He had not done any of the things she expected. I'm less scared, she admitted. Jake smiled. Good. That's really good. We'll take it slow, okay? One day at a time. And Zara, if I do anything that makes you uncomfortable, please tell me. I want you to feel safe here. As Zara went to her room that night, she realized something that frightened her in a new way. She was starting to believe him. This strange, kind human might actually mean what he said. And if he did, then everything she had ever been taught about the way things should be was wrong. She did not know which idea scared her more. 3 weeks passed. Zara was learning to live in this strange new world where she had choices. Small choices at first. Jake asked what she wanted for dinner. He asked if she preferred warmer or cooler temperature in the quarters. He asked if she wanted to visit the station's garden level. She was learning to answer, learning to say what she wanted instead of saying what she thought he wanted to hear. One morning, Zara was cleaning their quarters. It was something she did because she wanted to, not because Jake asked. He had told her many times that he could clean his own spaces, but she liked keeping things organized. It gave her something to do while he worked. She was dusting the shelf where Jake kept his engineering models. These were small projects he built in his free time. Tiny machines and structures that showed how different technologies worked. He had explained some of them to her. She did not understand the technical parts, but she liked listening to him talk about them. His voice got excited when he talked about things he loved. Her hand bumped one of the models. She watched in horror as it fell, hitting the floor and breaking into several pieces. Small parts scattered across the floor. Zara's heart stopped. Both of them. She could not breathe. She stared at the broken pieces and her mind filled with memories. Her father's voice, cold and angry. Her mother's bruises. The punishments that came from breaking things, from being clumsy, from making mistakes. She dropped to her knees and started gathering the pieces with shaking hands. Tears ran down her face. She did not even notice she was crying. She had to fix it. She had to fix it before Jake came home. Maybe he would not notice. Maybe she could repair it somehow. But she heard the door open. Jake was home early. "Hey, Zara, I forgot my—" He stopped. "Zara? What's wrong?" She could not look at him. She knelt on the floor, holding the broken pieces, her whole body shaking. This was it. Now she would see the real Jake. Now the kindness would end, and she would learn what human anger looked like. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to. I was just cleaning and I bumped it and it fell. I'll fix it. I promise I'll fix it. Please don't. Please." She heard Jake move closer. She closed her eyes, waiting for his hand to strike her. But instead, she felt him kneel beside her. "Zara, hey, look at me, please." She forced herself to look up. His face was not angry. He looked worried and sad. "Did you get hurt?" he asked. "Did any of the pieces cut you?" The question confused her so much that she stopped crying. "What?" "Your hands. Did the broken parts cut your skin? Let me see." He gently took her hands, turning them over to check. "Okay, good. You're not hurt. But I broke your model. I broke your thing." Jake looked at the pieces on the floor. Then he looked back at her, and his expression grew even sadder. "Zara, it's just a thing. It's not important. I can rebuild it. It's just plastic and metal. You're upset because you broke a toy?" "I broke your belonging. I was clumsy. I deserve punishment." The words came out automatically, the same words she had learned to say as a child. "Say you deserve it. Maybe the punishment would be less severe if you accepted it." Jake's face changed. Something hard moved through his eyes. But when he spoke, his voice was gentle. "Zara, I am never going to punish you. Not for this, not for anything. Do you understand me? Never." She wanted to believe him, but the fear was too strong. She had lived her whole life knowing that mistakes meant pain. "But I broke." "I don't care." Jake's voice was firm now. "Listen to me carefully. You could break every single thing I own, and I still would never hurt you. Things can be replaced. Things don't matter. You matter. Your safety matters. Nothing you could ever do would make me hit you or punish you." Zara stared at him. The tears came harder now, but they felt different. These tears came from somewhere deep inside, from a place that had been locked and frozen for so long she forgot it existed. Jake did not touch her without permission. He stayed close but gave her space. "Can I hug you?" he asked quietly. She nodded. She did not know why, but she needed it. His arms went around her carefully, like she was something that might break. He held her while she cried, not saying anything, just being there. When she finally stopped, he pulled back and gave her a sad smile. "I think we need to talk," he said. "Really talk. Is that okay?" They sat on the couch. Jake made her favorite tea, the one he had learned she liked. He sat across from her, his expression serious. "Zara, can you tell me about your life? Before you came here?" So she told him. The words came slowly at first, then faster. She told him about growing up in her father's house, about the rules, about watching her mother move through their home like a ghost, never speaking unless spoken to, always afraid. She told him about the lessons she learned, Stay quiet, stay small, never draw attention, never make mistakes. She told him about her friend Kessa, who was beaten by her husband for laughing too loudly at a gathering. She told him about her cousin Mira, who tried to refuse an arranged marriage and was locked in her room for a month. She told him about all the small ways females of her species learned to make themselves invisible because being seen was dangerous. Jake listened to everything. She watched emotions move across his face. Anger, but not at her. Sadness. Something that looked like pain. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. Then he spoke, and his voice was rough. "I'm so sorry that happened to you. All of it. You didn't deserve any of that. No one does." He looked at her directly. "Zara, what you're describing, where I come from, we call that abuse. It's wrong. It's illegal. People go to jail for treating others that way." "But it's normal for my people," she said. "It's tradition." "Some traditions are wrong." Jake's voice was firm. "Just because something has always been done a certain way doesn't make it right. Humans used to have traditions like that too. We're not perfect, but we learned. We changed. We decided that every person deserves to be treated with respect, no matter who they are." He leaned forward, his eyes intense. "Zara, I need you to understand something. You are not property. You're not a servant. You're a person with thoughts and feelings and rights. And one of those rights is to live without fear, to make mistakes without being hurt, to have opinions and choices. That's not me being nice. That's just basic decency." Zara felt something crack inside her chest. It hurt, but it was not a bad pain. It was like feeling something that had been numb for too long. "I don't know how to be that person," she whispered. "The person with choices, with rights. I don't know how." Jake smiled. It was a warm, genuine smile. "Then we'll figure it out together. One day at a time. I'll help you. And there are others who can help too. My friend Amy, she's great. I think you two could be friends. Would you like that? To have a friend?" Zara thought about Amy, the loud human female who laughed freely and touched people without fear. The idea of being her friend was terrifying and exciting at the same time. "I think I would," she said carefully. Over the next week, Jake introduced her to Amy properly. The three of them had dinner together in Jake and Zara's quarters. Amy was kind but not overly gentle. She treated Zara like a regular person, not like someone who might break. "So Jake tells me you've never had a hobby," Amy said during dinner. "Is that true?" Zara nodded. "Females of my people do not need hobbies. We take care of homes and families." Amy made a face. "That sounds incredibly boring. Everyone needs something they enjoy. What are you interested in? What do you like?" No one had ever asked her that. Zara thought hard. I like the gardens on level 7. The plants are beautiful. I like looking at them." "Okay, gardens, plants, that's something." Amy pulled out her data pad. "There's a station horticulture club. They meet twice a week. They teach people how to grow things. Want to go with me next week?" "You would go with me?" Zara asked. "Of course. It'll be fun. Plus, I've been meaning to learn how to keep plants alive. I kill everything I try to grow." Amy laughed at herself. Zara found herself smiling, a real smile. "I would like that." That night after Amy left, Jake cleaned up the dinner dishes. Zara helped him. They worked side by side in comfortable silence. When they finished, Jake turned to her. "You smiled tonight. I don't think I've seen you really smile before." Zara touched her face, surprised. She had smiled. She had not even noticed. "Amy is nice." "She is, and she likes you." Jake dried his hands on a towel. "You're doing really well, Zara. I'm proud of you." The words made her feel warm inside, proud of her. For what? For smiling? For talking? For just existing? But somehow it mattered. His pride mattered to her. As she lay in bed that night, in her room with the door she could lock, Zara realized something. She was not as afraid anymore. She was still confused. She still did not understand everything about this new life. But the constant terror that had lived in her chest since the day she married Jake was starting to fade. In its place, something else was growing. Something that felt like hope. 2 months after their marriage, Zara's life had changed in ways she never imagined possible. She attended the horticulture club every week with Amy. She had learned to grow 3 different types of plants in their quarters. She spoke her mind during meals. She chose her own clothes. She laughed. The laughing was still strange. The first time Jake made a joke and she laughed out loud, she had clapped her hand over her mouth in shock. But Jake just grinned and said, "I like your laugh. Don't hide it." So she stopped hiding it. She also stopped locking her bedroom door at night. There was no reason to. Jake had never once tried to enter without permission. Some nights they stayed up late talking in the main room, and she would fall asleep on the couch. She would wake up in her bed the next morning, covered with a blanket, with no memory of how she got there. Jake must have carried her. The thought should have frightened her, but it did not. She trusted him now. That realization had come slowly, like the sun rising. One day she simply noticed that she was not afraid anymore. She trusted Jake. More than that, she cared about him. She looked forward to seeing him at the end of his workday. She liked the sound of his voice. She noticed small things about him, like the way he rubbed his neck when he was tired, or how he always made sure her favorite foods were stocked in the kitchen. She was falling in love with her husband. The idea terrified her in a completely new way. One day, Jake came home from work looking worried. He sat down heavily on the couch, and Zara brought him tea without being asked. He smiled at her gratefully. "Thank you. Long day." He drank some tea, then looked at her seriously. "Zara, I need to tell you something. Your father is coming to the station. He'll be here tomorrow." Zara's hands went cold. Her father. She had not thought about him in weeks. In this safe space with Jake, she had almost forgotten about her old life. "Why is he coming?" she asked, her voice small. "Official coalition business, but he requested a meeting with both of us." Jake reached out carefully and took her hand. "I'll be there the whole time. He can't hurt you. I won't let him. But I wanted you to be prepared." That night, Zara could not sleep. She lay in her bed and thought about facing her father. What would he say when he saw how she had changed? Would he be angry? Would he try to take her away from this life she was learning to love? The next day felt too short. Zara dressed in her nicest clothes, the ones Amy had helped her pick out. Human-style clothes that fit her well and made her feel confident. She looked at herself in the mirror and barely recognized the person looking back. This Zara stood up straight. This Zara met her own eyes. When her father arrived at their quarters, Zara stood beside Jake. Not behind him. Beside him. She saw her father's eyes narrow when he noticed. "Daughter," Theron said in their language. His voice was cold. "You look different." "Hello, father," she replied in the common coalition language, not their native tongue. She wanted Jake to understand everything that was said. Theron's jaw tightened. He looked at Jake. "I wish to speak to my daughter alone." "No." The word came from Zara's mouth before she even thought about it. Both males looked at her in surprise. She felt her hearts pounding, but continued. "Jake is my husband. He stays." Her father's expression turned to ice. "Very well." He walked into the quarters, and Zara saw him taking in every detail. The plants she had grown, the human art on the walls, the pictures of her and Jake with Amy and Dan, the comfortable, lived-in feeling of a home that was shared and happy. "You have become very comfortable here," Theron said. His tone made it sound like an accusation. I am happy here, Zara said. The words felt bold and true. Happy? Her father laughed, but it was not a kind sound. You speak out of turn. You wear strange clothes. You stand beside your husband like you are his equal. Have you forgotten everything you were taught? Have you lost all sense of dignity and proper behavior? Something hot flared in Zara's chest. Anger. She had felt angry before, but she had never been allowed to show it. Now the anger burned bright and clean. I have not lost dignity, she said, her voice stronger now. I have found it. For the first time in my life, I am treated like a person who matters. My thoughts matter. My feelings matter. I matter. You matter? Theron's voice rose. You are a female. Your duty is to serve, to obey, to bring honor to your family. Instead, you embarrass us. Look at you. You are a disgrace. Jake stepped forward. That's enough. Don't speak to her that way. This is not your concern, human. This is a family matter. She is my family, Jake said firmly, and I won't stand here and let you tear her down. Zara is brave and kind and smart. She has worked hard to overcome what you taught her. She is not a disgrace. You should be proud of her. Theron turned his cold eyes to Jake. You have corrupted her. You have filled her head with your human ideas about equality and freedom. You have ruined her. No. Zara's voice cut through the tension. Both males looked at her. She was shaking, but not with fear, with certainty. Jake did not ruin me. You did. You and everyone else who taught me I was worthless, who taught me my only value was in serving others, who made me afraid to speak, to think, to be myself. Her father's face went dark with anger. You will not speak to me this way. I will, Zara said. Her voice was clear and steady. Because Jake taught me I have a voice. He taught me I deserve respect. He has shown me every single day that I am worth kindness and care. He has never hurt me, never raised his voice to me, never made me feel small. He treats me the way every being should be treated, with dignity. If you continue down this path, Theron said coldly, you will no longer be welcome in our family. You will be disowned, cut off. You will have no one. The words hurt. Despite everything, the thought of losing her family completely was painful. But Zara looked at Jake, standing beside her, ready to support whatever choice she made. She thought about Amy, who had become her first real friend. She thought about Dan, who treated her like she was smart and interesting. She thought about this life she was building, where she could laugh and learn and grow. Then I choose this path, Zara said. I choose to stay here. I choose Jake. I choose myself. Her father stared at her for a long moment. His face was like stone. Then you are no longer my daughter. The family name is taken from you. You are nothing to us. He turned and walked out. The door closed behind him with a final sound. Zara stood frozen. She had done it. She had stood up to her father. She had chosen her own life. But the cost felt enormous. She was cut off from everything she had known. She was alone. Then she felt Jake's arms around her. He held her close, and she realized she was crying. You're not alone, he said softly, like he could read her thoughts. You have me. You have Amy and Dan. You have people who care about you. You're not alone, Zara. I promise. She cried into his shoulder while he held her. When she finally stopped, she pulled back and looked at him. Really looked at him. This human who had been forced to marry her, who could have treated her terribly, who instead had shown her what kindness looked like. Jake, she said quietly, I need to tell you something. Okay. He brushed a tear from her cheek with his thumb. The gesture was so gentle. I love you. The words came out in a rush. I know I didn't choose to marry you at first. I know this started as an arrangement. But I'm choosing you now. I'm choosing this. I love you, Jake Morrison. I love you for your kindness. I love you for your patience. I love you for showing me I'm worth loving." Jake's eyes went wide, then soft, then bright with something that looked like joy. "Zara, I've been in love with you for weeks. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to pressure you. I wanted you to feel free. But I love you too. So much." "You love me?" She needed to hear it again. "I love you," he said firmly. "I love your strength. I love watching you discover who you are. I love your laugh. I love the way you care for your plants. I love everything about you." This time when he held her, it felt different. It felt like coming home. They stood in their quarters holding each other, and Zara felt something she had never felt before. She felt safe. She felt loved. She felt free. Later that evening, they sat together on the couch. Zara's head rested on Jake's shoulder. His arm was around her. "Are you okay?" he asked. "About your father?" She thought about it. "It hurts. But I meant what I said. I choose this. I choose us. We can build our own family," Jake said. "The kind of family where everyone is valued, where love is given freely, where no one has to be afraid." Zara lifted her head to look at him. "Can I kiss you?" Jake smiled. "You never have to ask permission for that. Not anymore." She kissed him. It was her first real kiss, one she chose because she wanted it. It was gentle and warm and felt like a promise. When they pulled apart, Jake was grinning. "We should probably take your name off the lock on your bedroom door. You don't need it anymore, right?" Zara smiled. "Right. I don't need it. I'm not afraid anymore." And for the first time in her life, it was completely true. 6 months after standing up to her father, Zara sat in a small meeting room on the station. Across from her sat 3 young Velkari females. They looked nervous, their hands folded in their laps, their eyes downcast. They looked exactly like Zara used to look. "Thank you for coming," Zara said gently. "I know it was not easy to reach out to me." The oldest of the 3, a female named Selah, glanced up briefly. "We heard about you, about what you did, about how you chose to stay with the human." "Is it true?" asked another, younger. "That he does not hurt you? That he lets you speak and make choices?" Zara smiled. "It's true, and not just him. That's what humans believe. They believe every person, male or female, deserves respect and freedom. It's not just Jake. It's their whole culture." The 3 females exchanged looks. Selah spoke again, her voice barely a whisper. "We want to know how. How did you find the courage? How did you stand up to your father?" "I didn't find courage all at once," Zara told them honestly. "It came slowly. Jake helped me see that I had value, that I deserved kindness. Once I started to believe that, once I started to feel safe, the courage came on its own." Over the past months, more and more Velkari females had started contacting Zara. At first, it was just 1 or 2, asking careful questions through private messages. Then more came. Some were young and unmarried, curious about different possibilities for their lives. Others were older, trapped in situations like the one Zara had escaped, looking for hope. Zara met with them in small groups. She told them her story. She introduced them to Amy, who shared what life was like for human females. She showed them that another way was possible. "My husband wants to meet a human female," Selah said. "He says he will punish me if I keep asking questions about your lifestyle, but I had to come. I had to know if what I heard was real." Zara's heart ached for her. She remembered that fear. "You don't have to go back if you're not safe. There are places on this station, shelters. The coalition has laws about abuse, even if your home planet does not enforce them." "I couldn't," Selah said quickly, fear flashing in her eyes. "The shame, my family, I couldn't." "I understand." Zara did understand. She had been there. But know that the option exists. You don't have to suffer. And talking to other females who want change, that's not wrong. You deserve to learn. You deserve to question. After the meeting, Jake was waiting outside. He always walked Zara home after her meetings. Not because he thought she needed protection, but because he liked spending the time with her. They walked side by side through the station corridors. "How did it go?" he asked. Sad, hopeful, both at the same time. Zara took his hand. It still amazed her how natural this felt now, holding hands, walking together, being partners. "One of them is in a bad situation. I gave her information about the shelters." Jake squeezed her hand gently. "You're doing good work, Zara. You're helping people." "I'm trying, but sometimes I wonder if it's enough. 3 females out of millions, so many still suffering." "Change starts small," Jake said. "My grandma used to say that one candle can light 1,000 others. You're that first candle. The light will spread." When they got home, Amy and Dan were already there. They had started a weekly tradition of cooking dinner together. Tonight, Amy was attempting to make a traditional earth dish while Dan helped Zara with her plant collection. Jake joined in, and their quarters filled with laughter and conversation. This was family now. Not blood, but choice. People who cared about each other, who supported each other, who treated each other with respect and love. After dinner, Amy pulled Zara aside. "So, I have news. The Coalition Council is considering new guidelines about cultural practices that harm individuals. Your meetings with the Velkari females have gotten attention. Some council members are starting to ask questions about your people's treatment of women." Zara felt her hearts beat faster. "Real change? In the laws?" "Maybe. It's slow. Politics always is. But people are noticing. The fact that more Velkari females are asking for help, seeking information, that matters. You've started something, Zara." That night, Zara and Jake sat on their couch, the one where they had shared so many conversations. She curled against him, his arm around her shoulders. "Jake, can I ask you something?" "Always." "Why did you agree to the arranged marriage in the first place? You could have said no from the start." Jake was quiet for a moment. "Honestly, at first I thought I could help with the political situation. Earth needed good relationships with other species, but when I saw you that first day so scared, I knew I couldn't walk away. I thought maybe I could make the situation less terrible for you. I never imagined—" He paused and kissed the top of her head. "I never imagined I would fall in love with you. That we would have this." "I'm glad you didn't walk away," Zara said softly. "Me too. Best decision I ever made." The weeks turned into months. Zara's meetings with Velkari females continued to grow. She started a proper support group. Amy helped her set up educational sessions about different cultures and their views on equality. Dan used his technical skills to create a private communication network where Velkari females could talk safely, away from the eyes of their families. One day, Zara received a message that made her cry. It was from her mother. The message was short and carefully worded, probably written in secret. "My daughter, I hear stories about you. I hear you are helping other females. I hear you are happy. I cannot join you. I am too old, too afraid. But I am proud. I wish I had your courage. I wish I had shown you that you could be strong. Know that somewhere your mother loves you and is proud." Jake found her crying on the couch, the message displayed on her datapad. He read it and held her while she wept. These were not sad tears, though. They were healing tears. Her mother was still trapped, but she saw. She understood. That mattered. Months passed. A year, 2 years. Zara's support group had grown so large that they needed bigger spaces. Young Velkari females started arriving at the station, asking for asylum, wanting to learn about different ways of living. Some stayed. Some went back and worked for change in their own communities. The Coalition Council did pass new guidelines. They were not as strong as Zara had hoped, but they were a start. They stated that forced marriages could not be enforced across coalition territories, that females of any species had the right to seek help if they were in danger. It was not enough to change everything, but it was something. It was a beginning. On their 3rd anniversary, Jake and Zara went to the station's garden level. It had become their special place. Zara had helped design a new section of the garden, growing plants from multiple worlds. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when different beings worked together with respect and care. They stood together looking at the growing things, the life they had helped create. "I've been thinking," Jake said, "about the future, about family." Zara looked at him curiously. "What about it?" "Well, I know our species can't have biological children together, but there are a lot of orphans in the coalition, kids from war zones, from disasters, kids who need homes. I was thinking, maybe we could adopt, if you want. Only if you want." Zara felt warmth spread through her chest. A family. A real family, built on love and choice. Children who would grow up knowing they were valued, that they had voices, that they mattered. "I want that," she said. "I want to raise a child who never has to learn to be afraid, who knows from the beginning that they are loved and worthy." Jake grinned and pulled her close. "We'll teach them about both our cultures, the good parts. We'll teach them to be kind, to stand up for what's right, to treat everyone with dignity. And we'll teach them that family is not just blood," Zara added. "It's the people who choose to love you, who support you, who help you become who you're meant to be." "Like Amy and Dan," Jake said. "Like you," Zara replied. "You chose me when I couldn't choose myself. You showed me what love really looks like." They kissed, surrounded by growing things, by life and hope and possibility. 5 years after their marriage, Zara stood in front of a group of delegates from multiple species. She was there as an official representative for cultural reform. She told her story. She told them about fear and courage, about the power of treating others with basic respect, about how one human's simple kindness had changed her entire world. "Change is possible," she told them. "It starts with believing that every being has value, every voice matters, every person deserves dignity. That's not a human idea. That's not a Velkari idea. That's a universal truth. And when we start living by that truth, when we treat each other with real kindness and respect, we can change everything." After her speech, she found Jake waiting for her in the corridor. He was holding the hand of a small child, a Velkari orphan they had adopted 6 months ago, little Zara, named after the mother who was teaching her to be brave. "Mama spoke to the important people," Jake said to their daughter. "She's very brave." "Like you taught me to be," Zara said, picking up their daughter. The little one wrapped her arms around Zara's neck. "Like we're teaching her to be." They walked home together, a family made not by force or tradition, but by choice and love. Behind them, the seeds of change they had planted continued to grow. Other mixed couples were forming. Other females were finding their voices. Other beings were learning that kindness was not weakness, but strength. One human had shown one alien female that she mattered. That simple act had started a ripple that was still spreading across the stars. And it all began because Jake Morrison had looked at a frightened female and decided to treat her not like property or a political tool, but like a person worthy of respect. That night, after their daughter was asleep, Zara and Jake sat on their couch, his arm around her, her head on his shoulder. The same position they had sat in countless times before. But they were different people now. She was no longer the terrified female forced into marriage. He was no longer just a kind man trying to make the best of a bad situation. They were partners, They were lovers. They were a family. They were proof that change was possible, that kindness mattered, that love could bloom even in the most unlikely places. "I never knew life could be like this," Zara said softly. "I never knew I could be this happy." "Neither did I," Jake replied. "You taught me that too, you know. You showed me what real courage looks like, what strength really means." Zara smiled and closed her eyes, safe and warm and loved. She had feared the human she was forced to wed. Now she could not imagine her life without him. He had not saved her. He had simply treated her with the dignity she deserved, and in doing so, had given her the tools to save herself. And that made all the difference.